A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A plus English, 'cause it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A plus way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A plus English.
Hello everyone, welcome to A Plus English. I'm Mike.
I'm Betty.
Yes, you are. And today we are here with you guys, and Betty and I and you're all invited on a big trip to Okinawa.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Okinawa.
Yeah.
We're going to spend 2 days there. We're not going to Okinawa.
But we're having fun talking about
We're
Okinawa.
going to be reading and talking about it, exactly. And it will be almost as fun as going there. Have you been to Okinawa before?
No, actually, but I've been to Japan a couple of times. I've never Okinawa.
Oh, you
Why?
must go to Okinawa. It's lovely.
Oh, you've been there?
I've been there once, and I've been meaning to go back for many, many years. I think the last time I was close was COVID. COVID was like, oh, we'll go next year. And then COVID came along. But I always want to go back. I went to one little area, and I know that there's so much more to learn about Okinawa. And from reading our article, I haven't done most of the things in the article. So this is great for me, great for you. And maybe you guys, if you've been there, you might go, oh yeah, I know that place.
Right.
Or you might, like we will go, I gotta go there. So today, what are we gonna be talking about?
We're going to, before we start talking about Okinawa, a little bit grammar, a little bit question here. Okay. 所以同学问一下同学啊，我们每天呢搭车去上学的英文是说，搭公车嘛 I take the bus to school every day. 那假设你要换句话说的话，有没有其他方式呢？同学想一想，我们等一下呢会公布答案哦。
All right, and as we get into the article, we're going to be learning about an aquarium to visit. I love aquariums. And also interesting little lions you might find hidden around Okinawa. So lots of things to pay attention to in the article and in Okinawa if you go. And we're going to learn all about it starting now.
Discover the beautiful island of Okinawa.
This island has beautiful beaches and a special culture. It's Okinawa. People call it the Hawaii of Japan. It's close to Taiwan and just about 2 hours away by plane. There are many fun places to visit on the island. One of them is Churaumi Aquarium. You can walk through a tunnel. Inside, sea animals like whale sharks and manta rays swim around you. It's like being under the sea.
All right, let's get into our article, and it begins by telling us some really basic and true information. This island has beautiful beaches and a special culture. It's Okinawa. All of that is true.
Right.
I saw some of the culture. I went to one of the beaches, and I know it's called Okinawa. That is 100%
because
true.
it's a little bit different from mainland Japan,
very
right?
different. Yeah.
Very different.
I would say when I was there, I had a very kind of Taiwan feeling. It kind of looks like Taiwan with the mountains and, the black sand beaches. It's very close to Taiwan, and it has a very kind of cool Taiwan, Japan kind of mixed feeling. It's a great place.
No wonder people like going there here.
Absolutely,
Okay, yeah. 所以呢，我们就看一下，就是基本资料，冲绳呢在哪里？就是日本的最南边呢，它是琉球群岛，所以就在九州，就是日本的比较南端的本岛比较南端，还有台湾中间就是 Okinawa.
And as you were saying, it is quite different from Japan. In fact, we read people call it the Hawaii of Japan.
Is it true, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, it has beaches. It's very warm. It's sunny. It's similar to Hawaii. It's also, like I said, similar to Taiwan.
Okay.
But I think also Japanese people have a special love for Hawaii.
For vacation.
Yeah, and they love Hawaii. They love getting married in Hawaii, vacations
romantic,
there. So, in their minds, it is probably a lot like Hawaii. In my mind, it looked a lot like Taiwan, too.
Oh, yeah. I think it is.
Yeah,
because it's islands, so it's similar to Hawaii and Taiwan and probably other islands.
Exactly. The geography, the kind of plants you see around, quite similar. And as the article continues, it says it's close to Taiwan and just about 2 hours away by plane. It is very close. Tokyo is like 3 or 4 hours away. So this is kind of half the difference. And I believe if you really want an adventure, there's boats that go from Taiwan to Okinawa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Boats? Like expensive ones?
I think
or
like
cruises?
A cruise. It'll take a day or two to get there.
Okay,
and,
it's not a raft, right?
No, not
on a raft.
Well, you could make your own raft, but I would not suggest that. I would say pay someone to go on a proper boat. But it is, as the article gives us this idea, it's very close to Taiwan.
And it's kind of amazing to think, if you go from, if I drive from Taichung to Taipei, it's about 2 hours.
It's about 2 hours.
And if you take the plane, it's in another country.
Yep.
Wow, so it's amazing.
It would take less time to get to Okinawa than it would take to get to Kending, for example.
Right, so it's amazing to think about it.
Yeah, very close.
OK. 那大家还记得我一开始问的问题吗？好，我就说，因为我们今天讲到交通工具哦，所以说呢，如果我们说 I take the bus to school every day， 那你可以怎么讲呢？好，你可以先说我去学校 I go to school。那什么交通工具放在后面？ By bus， 同学要小心哦 ，by 前面 ，by 后面不加不加 the 啊，就是 by bus, by train, by plane, every day。好，同学答对了吗？
You'd have to be very lucky to go to Okinawa by plane every day. That would be a weird school or a strange job if you were flying to Okinawa.
But luckily, you can go to school every day by bus.
I guess, well, if you're an airplane pilot, you might say that. I go to Okinawa by airplane.
But probably it's no fun. It's your job.
It's
right?
true. It would be not so much fun. But on the topic of fun, it says there are many fun places to visit on the island. We wouldn't tell you about a place that's boring. No, we're going to tell you about some of those fun places to visit on the beautiful island of Okinawa.
So tell us a little bit about those fun places, Mike, you've been to.
Well, I've been to I was actually in the American Village in Okinawa.
Oh, really? American Village.
I played some music there. I met some nice Okinawan people. I met American people. I met sort of Okinawan American people who had a Japanese mother and an American father. And it was very interesting. It was like America. They had shopping malls. They had Taco Bell. They had all these big American stores. We started to call it Japan Diego because it kind of reminded us of a California city like San Diego, but it's definitely Japan, so we called it Japan Diego. And if you ever go to the American Village, they have this one incredible, I will call it a Frankenstein food. It's sort of a weird food that probably shouldn't exist. Taco rice.
Oh, what's that?
They have rice, and then they put taco meat and cheese and lettuce and all the things you put on a taco, but not in a taco shell like a Mexican taco, an American Japanese style taco.
所以有那种墨西哥那种卷饼，然后是日本版的，所以它就放了米进去，然后还有一些西方的东西。Also, it's pretty fun.
It's definitely fun, but definitely not healthy.
Delicious.
So, delicious, but maybe only have it one time on your holiday because I'm sure it's not super good for you.
Probably one time a day.
Maybe one time a trip. One time a week if you're there for a long time or something like that. All right, let's read about some of the fun places that we detail in our article. It says one of them is the Churaumi Aquarium. I've heard of this place. I've never been there.
Oh, okay. But let me tell you something about this place.
Please do.
中文呢是翻成冲绳美丽海水族馆。为什么这样子呢？因为冲绳他们有自己的语言 dialect，所以呢 chura 好像就是 beautiful 的意思。
Oh, really? Okay.
然后 umi 是 sea。
Okay.
所以 beautiful sea.
I see.
That's the name of the aquarium.
Okay, very nice. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess they could have called it beautiful fish too, because that's what you will see in an aquarium, right?
Yeah.
You expect to see beautiful fish from the beautiful seas around Okinawa. And I've seen pictures of this. It looks cool. You can walk through a tunnel. Now, you might kind of go, yeah, so what? You walk through a tunnel, you got rock over your head, it's all gray walls. No, this is like a glass tunnel, and all around you are ocean sea creatures.
Right, and it's also
cool.
like you have tunnels in every aquariums, right?
Do you?
I think in Taiwan we do,
okay.
but it's
you go to fancy aquariums.
Yeah, fancier ones. Yeah. So yeah, it's
true.
beautiful.
Many new aquariums they do.
Right. But not every aquariums, of course.
Okay, so you've done this before, but not in Okinawa.
In Taiwan, in Hualien. Yeah, and I think you can have a night out in there.
You can sleep in the aquarium?
Yeah, under the tunnel, I guess, in the tunnel.
So you wake up and there's like a shark swimming over your head?
Trying to eat you.
Okay.
A can, something like that.
I'm not sure about that. All right, but anyways, back to the article. So yeah, in the tunnel, in the aquarium, it says inside sea animals like whale sharks and manta rays swim around you.
Right.
Now, that's very impressive because, I'm no ocean scientist, but even I know whale sharks are the biggest fish in the ocean.
Yeah, and it's pretty rare to have those things in the aquarium.
I know they live around Okinawa. You can find them in the ocean, but I'm amazed that the aquarium is big enough to fit a whale shark. That's incredible.
Right. The tank, how big the tank is. 那我们来看一下这个 whale shark 就是金鲨，就是最大的鱼哦。那这边有讲到这个 manta rays， 那台湾会讲是鬼蝠魟，那你就知道它是一种魟鱼或者是魔鬼鱼。So it's a kind of stingray. Stingray 是魟鱼的意思。
Yeah, I think manta rays are the largest of the ray family. Of course, these are like cousins of sharks. But don't worry, manta rays, they don't have stings. They don't bother people. They're actually quite peaceful, and sometimes they fly out of the water. They're absolutely gorgeous. And being in the tunnel, as the article says, it's like being under the sea. Very true. You don't have to get wet. You don't wear special equipment. You walk around in your t-shirt and shorts, but there is water all around you, with fish swimming all around you. It would be quite an incredible experience.
Right. 那但是我们还是要讲一下文法，感觉很美，对不对？那这里要小心，因为这个 like 在这边呢，它是一个介系词。Remember this because we're going to talk about this later.
I'm remembering.
介系词 preposition. 好，那同学我们来看一下单字哦。第一个是 close， 注意发音，它是形容词。如果它是动词，就是 close， 它这个是 close， 很近的哦。比如说 My house is close to the school， 我家呢离学校很近。记得 be close to 要加这个 to 哦。好，那我们来看一下下一个哦，就是呢。下一个例句 Do you hear that loud noise? I think we are very close to the waterfall. 所以一样再一次 be close to. 你有听到那响亮的声音吗？我想我们离瀑布很近了哦。第二个 visit 在这边当动词，它有时候当名词，在我们这一课当动词游览参观。比如说 We will visit the zoo this weekend. 好，那再给同学一个哦。Larry visited the zoo and saw many different animals last Saturday.Larry 上周六去动物园看到很多不同的动物，所以 visit 一个地方很适合旅游。好，接下来比较难一点点 tunnel 隧道。好，那隧道呢要怎么讲呢？如果你要讲说经过隧道 the train goes through a long tunnel. Go through 或者是 look the rabbit ran into a tunnel in the ground. 你看那是兔子呢钻进地底的隧道了。好，那我们讲一下文法的地方，同学要稍微注意一下 magic box 里面的一个文法 one of 什么什么，那同学要记得哦，其中什么什么之一哦，什么什么里面的一个，那你要记得，因为它是其中之一，所以 of 后面呢你要加名词的复数。可是你要想哦，你在讲的还是其中一个，所以动词呢要搭配单数。这里给同学一个例句就好了，比如说One of the books， 记得哦，其中一本书，所以 books 要是复数，它是其中一本。可是动词呢，我们要变回单数，所以 be 动词我们用 is。One of the books on the shelf is missing。书架上其中一本书不见了。好，这就是我们这个部分要跟同学讲的知识点。
Another fun thing to do in Okinawa is to look for shisa statues. They look like lion dogs and often sit on roofs or stand by doors. People believe shisa keep bad things away and bring good luck.
All right, so we've had some fun with some sea creatures in Okinawa, going through a tunnel, being surrounded by wondrous animals. What other creatures can we find on this interesting island? What about some lions? Lions in Okinawa, you say? Well, sort of. Let's read on. It says, another fun thing to do in Okinawa is to look for shisa Statues.
Do you know this? Shisa statues, but living in Taiwan, I bet you've seen one of those.
I've definitely seen them. I've heard of them, and I saw some in Okinawa as well.
Right.
Yes.
Shisa 就是石狮的，我觉得它中文其实有点像Shisa，就是石狮的中文哦。但是我们这里呢翻成风狮也，因为它就是挡风的，在台湾很多地方也有。So it sounds pretty familiar because you have this in Taiwan, right? Shisa statues. And usually in front of the temples, right? They're welcoming you.
Exactly. They're kind of guardians, they're guards, and they're also just nice statues. I think they also have them in front of a big department store here in Taipei.
Oh, department stores.
Some lions there too. Now, of course, when we say they're statues, that should make you all relax because a statue is not a real animal. It's not a real lion.
So they're not going to bite.
It's just an artistic creation. Someone takes some stone and carves it, and it looks really nice, but it's not real. But as the article says, they look like lion dogs and often sit on roofs or stand by doors. Yeah, so take kind of a lion and a dog and kind of mash them together. This is an imaginary animal. Of course, it's not a real animal. And they sit on roofs and stand by doors. That's where the people put them. And that's where you guys, if you're on Okinawa, can keep your eyes out and you might see them in places like that.
Right, and lion dog is actually a breed, right?
A lion
dog,
Okay.
松狮犬. But here it's talking about 日本的神话里面呢有一种破犬哦，它就是半狮子，然后半狗，然后它是一个神话里面的东西，所以呢它有保护的功能。
All right. Well, people believe Shisa, or the Shisa statues, of course, keep bad things away and bring good luck. So, like a lot of things that people might put by their home, their business, or maybe in the older days, more by temples and places like that, they just put them there to protect themselves, to keep the bad things away, and to bring good luck.
It's very similar to what we're doing here in Taiwan, right?
Yeah.
Those Shisas, guardians.
Right. You often see them by temples and big buildings, businesses, places like that.
好，那这里我们有最后一个单字哦，叫 roof。roof 也是比较少见哦。如果在教科书里面，那同学要稍微把它记起来，因为你日常生活中看得到。比如说呢，它是屋顶的意思哦。There is a cat on the roof， 在屋顶上呢有一只猫。好，那再给同学一个例子哦。Oh no, a strong storm tore a hole in the building's roof last night。那这边的 tore 呢，它是那个 tear 的过去式，代表说就把什么呢摧毁了的意思。他就说，哦不，昨天的暴风雨呢，把这栋建筑物的屋顶吹破了一个洞 ，roof 在这里。然后呢，要跟同学讲一个文法点哦。Look 它有好多的片语哦，我们这边看到两个。第一个呢是 look for 寻找，那我们让同学呢，想一下 look for 跟 find 有什么不一样？比如说呢 ，I'm looking for my keys 是什么意思？然后第二个 I found my keys 又是什么意思呢 ？Looking for 跟 find。Look for 通常是找的过程哦，所以你还在找。那所以说 I'm looking for my keys 我在找我的钥匙。可是呢，如果说 I found my keys 你已经找到了哦，所以是很不一样的哦。那接下来呢，第二个我们看到是 look like。那同学记得哦 like 它有两个意思，第一个是喜欢，第二个是介系词 preposition 嘛，代表像的意思哦。You look like your brother 你看起来呢很像你的哥哥或弟弟。那或者是不只讲人哦，你也可以说 It looks like rain 看起来好像要下雨了。我们中文有的时候会这样讲嘛，对不对？台湾湿湿的感觉的时候，就代表等一下可能要下雨了。It looks like rain。
Review time.
All right, we are back. And before we say goodbye to you guys, remember, we're going to be back in Okinawa tomorrow, so don't go far. But before we say goodbye for today, we have this quick question. We talked about, well, I mentioned taco rice, which is a famous Okinawan food, but it's not really Okinawan. It's kind of Japanese American, but it is something that was invented there, and people might try it there for the first time. But let's think about Taiwan. If you could think of 3 kinds of food to represent Taiwan, what would they be and why?
Stinky tofu, the first one.
Okay, that's a classic one. Yes.
Right, it's a fun way. It's fun to watch people feel gross about it and still try to eat it.
Are you a fan of the cho tofu?
I don't mind. Actually, I'm a fan. Good ones.
You do?
Yeah,
You like
some
it?
gross ones would.
Do you like both kinds, the fried and the boiled?
Yes.
Okay,
The boiled,
I'm a fan of the fried, not so much the boiled.
Boiled because the smell is even stronger,
It's very
right? And it's
strong.
wet.
Yeah. But that is a classic one, and a lot of tourists, when they come here, they might try that. What are some others?
Second one, I bet you like it. Boba.
Boba, okay. I guess you could just put it in the tea, buttermilk tea, that kind of idea. Popular all over the world now.
Right, that's true.
And I think most people know it's from Taiwan. You know, if they're fans of it in other countries, a lot of them know it's from Taiwan. That's a great one. What else?
And Taiwanese version of the hot dog. Have you tried one of those at night
interesting
markets?
choice. So it's like the sausage, and sometimes you have it with garlic or something like that.
That's sausages, right? But a hot dog.
Oh, with the rice.
With dough inside. With the dough on the outside.
With the dough on the
and
outside.
And the ketchup on the,
Sounds like a hot dog to me.
But you put pickle things in it, right?
Okay.
You put cucumbers, but we don't. Just the sausage and the dough and some ketchup.
And I know that sometimes instead of the bread, you have rice. Right? You have kind of sticky rice around the hot dog. Yeah, that's interesting. I would have guessed you would have said 牛肉面. You would have said beef noodle soup.
Oh, that's just too
many. For
many.
a lot of people think that's a classic Taiwanese dish. But you're right. It's kind of from many different places.
Yeah.
But it's very, very good here. What about you guys? Can you think of another food you would add to that list of classic Taiwanese foods that many people would love to try? We'll have a chat about that. And we'll be back tomorrow with more on Okinawa.
Yeah. 还喜欢今天的内容吗？记得帮我们按赞、订阅、开启小铃铛，你就不会错过任何精彩的内容啦。我们下次见喽，拜拜。
Take care.